But if you don't show up, you understand that you're looking at up to 5 years on the OVI and up to 5 years on the specification. That's 10 years. So you have 30 days to get your affairs in order, because you're going to prison, right? 5 CR 42772, the State of Ohio versus Brandon Sims. Mr. Sims is before the court with his counsel, Ms. Kirby. Ms. Nicholson, on behalf of the State of Ohio. Ms. Nicholson.
Your Honor, it's my the defendant is going to be pleading guilty to count 2 and count 4, along with the specification to count 2, which is the OVI refusal, with the specification for additional sentence for repeat OVI offenders, and then count 4 is the driving under OVI suspension. The remaining counts and the remaining specifications to those counts will be dismissed, and there is an agreed joint recommended sentence of 1 year on the specification to be served prior to and consecutive to 2 years on the underlying OVI.
Ms. Kirby, is that accurate?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sims, they're telling me you're going to change your plea to guilty to at least 2 of the counts with this proposed recommended sentence. This document says you're entering a plea of guilty to 1 count of operating a vehicle while impaired. That is a felony. This account is a felony of the 3rd degree and carries a maximum penalty of 60 months in prison and a maximum fine of $10,500. $1,350 of this of that fine is considered a mandatory minimum fine. There's also a specification to this count for a previous for a repeat OVI offenders, which means the court can sentence you from anywhere from 1 to 5 years. That to be served prior to and consecutive to any sentence on the underlying offense, the OVI. And then the second charge is one of driving under an OVI suspension. That is a misdemeanor of the 1st degree and carries a maximum penalty of 180 days in the Warren County Jail and a maximum fine of $1,000. There is a mandatory minimum fine on that as well of $250. You're also subject on the OVI charge to a license suspension of anywhere from 3 years to life, and on the driving under suspension charge, a operator's license suspension of up to 1 year.
Your Honor, if this case would have proceeded to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about June 7th of 2025, while driving in Turtle Creek Township, Warren County, Ohio, the Ohio State Highway Patrol received a call regarding a reckless driver, observed the defendant speeding and swerving across lanes of travel, observed marked lanes violations. After the trooper observed the second marked lanes violation, he pulled the defendant over. He noted numerous indicators of impairment, such as glassy, bloodshot eyes, droopy eyelids, with slurred speech. The defendant refused to participate in any field sobriety test and refused any chemical test. Eventually, a search warrant was obtained. The defendant has a prior felony OVI conviction in 2018 out of Hamilton County. Additionally, he does have 5 prior OVI convictions in 2018, 2016, 2 in 2016, and 2015.
All right, Ms. Kirby, anything on those facts?
Nothing on the facts, Your Honor.
Mr. Sims, did you hear the statement that she read?
Yes.
Do you admit and acknowledge that what she said is true?
Yes.
And again, you understand all the rights you're giving up by entering a plea of guilty, the rights we went over.
Yes.
What is the court? What is your plea then?
Guilty.
The court's going to make a finding that you've made a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of your constitutional rights that we've discussed. The court will accept your plea of guilty, and based upon the statement of facts in your plea, the court will make a finding of guilty. Now, Mr. Sims, it's my understanding that you're requesting some time before the court actually sentences you, despite the fact that there is this agreed recommended sentence. I'm going to grant that request, and I'm going to order that this be set for sentencing within the next 30 days. So you have 30 days to get your affairs in order, because you're going to prison, right?
Yes.
Now, it's my intention to make a finding that the agreed recommended sentence is the appropriate sentence for this case. So you'll be receiving a sentence of 2 years on the OVI, 1 year on the specification to be served prior to and consecutive to the OVI, and 180 days on the driving under suspension charge. That would be served concurrent with the felony charge. Now, keep in mind that if you violate the terms and conditions of your bond, or if you fail to appear for your sentencing hearing, this plea bargain is out the window. You understand that? I'm not bound at this moment to this agreement or this proposal that your attorney and the prosecutor worked out. It doesn't bind me in any way. You understand that?
Yes.
So you are subject to being sent to prison for up to 10 years. Right now, she's got it down to 3, with the possibility of judicial release after a certain period of time. That's all fine. But if you don't show up, you understand that you're looking at up to 5 years on the OVI and up to 5 years on the specification. That's 10 years. Have to be served consecutive to each other. So I'm just cautioning you that because we do have times when people get this time to get their affairs in order, they decide they're not coming back. We usually find them, and then they're sorry then that they didn't do it the way it was agreed to, right? All right, sir. You need to go down and test out court services. Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, I'll see you next time, okay?
Okay.
This is case number 25CR42772, the State of Ohio versus Brandon Sims. Mr. Sims is before the court with his counsel, Ms. Kirby. Ms. Nicholson, on behalf of the State of Ohio, we're here for sentencing. Ms. Nicholson, anything on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, we would adopt the agreed recommended sentence, which is 1 year on the specification, prior to and consecutive to 24 months on the underlying felony OVI, and then 180 days on the driving under OVI suspension, to be served concurrent to the 24 months. The defendant has a lengthy history of OVIs. We would ask the court to consider a lengthy driver's license suspension, but beyond that, we would just ask you to adopt the agreed joint recommended sentence.
Ms. Kirby, anything?
Yes, a couple of things, Your Honor. We want to thank the prosecution for their work in this case and coming to an agreed recommended sentence, and we ask the court to adopt that today. Just a couple of things about Mr. Sims and about the situation. We just want to point out that nobody got hurt. There was no accident involved with this situation. Mr. Sims has been very forthcoming with his mistakes and taken responsibility for this situation, as well as the mistakes that he's made in the past that have gotten him to this enhanced OVI. Mr. Sims has said to me many, many times throughout this case that he is sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he wants to move on with his life. He's sick of battling this addiction, and he knows that it has control over him. He has been on the scram monitor the entirety of this case and has been compliant fully with pretrial supervision. There have been no, to my knowledge, there have been no positive tests for alcohol or substances. So I do believe that this has taught him a lesson. I think maybe this is the first time he's been on the scram monitor and being forced into sobriety. And this is also understanding he's going to go to prison. This is a huge wake-up call for him. So, Your Honor, we understand, and we hope that the court will adopt the agreed recommended sentence.
Thank you. Mr. Sims, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, sir, just pretty much what my lawyer said, yes, sir.
Okay. The court has considered the statements made here today, the purposes and the principles of sentencing, the relevant seriousness and recidivism factors. The court has considered the agreed recommended sentence of the parties and finds it to be an appropriate sentence. So the court is going to order you to serve 24 months in prison on the OVI charge. The court is going to order you to serve 1 year on the specification, that to be served prior to and consecutive to the OVI charge, 180 days in the Warren County Jail on the driving under suspension refusal, and that to be served concurrent with the previous outlined prison sentence. There is a mandatory fine of $1,540, which I do not have the authority to waive. Other than that fine, the court finds that you're indigent for the purpose of any fines, costs, or other financial sanctions. The court is suspending your driver's license for your lifetime. You are not permitted to ever drive again without this court's permission. You have 4 days jail time credit. Now you're all, excuse me. You're also subject to a mandatory period of post-release control, which means that upon your release from prison, if you serve out your entire sentence, the adult parole authority may choose to supervise you. Is this 18 months to, or is this 2 years?
This is up to 2 years, discretionary up to 2 years.
If you violate that supervision, you can be returned to prison by the adult parole authority for up to 1/2 of this court's original sentence. If your violation is that you commit another felony, you can be returned to prison for 1 year or the period that you have left on PRC, whichever is longer. That time would run consecutive to any additional prison time you get sentenced to. Other than the mandatory time, there may be opportunities for you to receive up to 1 day per month for participating in programs that are sponsored by the Department of Corrections. You do have a right to appeal the court's decision of your sentence to the 12th District Court of Appeals. If you want to appeal, you must file your notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date. If you can't afford to pay for the transcript or anything necessary for your appeal, including an attorney, all of that can be provided to you at no cost. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
About the fine and the driving, it's lifetime suspension.
Yes.
So will I ever get a chance to like possibly get like?
You can petition this court once you've served so long. I believe you're not eligible for any driving privileges at all until after at least 3 years. And then after 3 years, you can petition the court to grant you privileges. You could also, at some point in time, petition the court to terminate the lifetime suspension and reinstate your license. Those are options, but you can't get privileges for at least 3 years.
Okay. And one question about the fine. It's indigent, so it's non-waivable.
Yeah, I can't. It's an OVI fine. It's a mandatory fine. That's one fine that I cannot waive.
Okay. How would that work as far as me being able to like get money?
If I were you, I wouldn't worry about the fine right now until after you get done with your prison sentence.
Okay. So will it affect me up the?
It will not affect you at all in prison. The only time it's going to affect you is if you go to get your license back.
Okay, I plan on paying it, like maybe some type of payment arrangement
Yeah.
or some sort.
Yeah, but it shouldn't affect you, like your
It won't affect you in prison.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Your Honor, another thing, I think there has to be a consecutive sentence finding, even though I believe it is statutory that the specification has to run consecutive. I know that was the agreement. I just think we didn't address that finding on the record. And then the license suspension dates back to June 7th of 2025.
7/25, the effective date of the suspension. The court, obviously, the specification it's a mandatory consecutive specification. So that specification by law must be served consecutive to the 24 months I ordered you to serve on the OVI. That will be served prior to and consecutive to the OVI 24 months. So it's a total of 36 months. You know, after you've served the 1 year mandatory period, you would be eligible to petition this court for release. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for me?
Oh, no.
Okay, there's a deputy that's standing directly behind you. At this time, I'm going to revoke your bond, remand you into the custody of the Warren County Sheriff for transport to the Department of Corrections.
Okay.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.